in so many ways. Some families are facing it apart, feeling the weight of loneliness. At a miracle of a community that cares, we are creating a space where everyone, regardless of faith or background, can share in the joy of this wonderful season. Join Santa and leaders from all walks of life for stories, special shout-outs, and heartfelt messages from loved ones near and far. Children are taking the lead with art and fun, helping us bring the gift of books to children everywhere. Children in hospitals, children to families of all faiths, and to fortify traditions of families. This season, let's come together as a global community, one that cares, one that gives, and one that embraces all cultures, part of the miracle. Join us from December 24th to December 26th, and let's make this season unforgettable for everyone.
Community Pay It Forward is excited to bring you a one-time year-end offer. Sign up for a gold or platinum giving or sponsorship package before December 31st, and we'll give you 2026 free of charge. That's a whole extra year of community support, visibility, and impact. Help your business grow. Community Pay It Forward is excited to bring you a one-time year-end offer. Sign up for a gold or platinum giving or sponsorship package before December 31st, and we'll give you 2026 free of charge. That's a whole extra year of community support, visibility, and impact. Help your business grow while making a difference. With our exclusive packages, you're not just
You have worked hard to build your brand. Community Pay It Forward thinks you should be able to build your own profile. And now, thanks to Z-World Webs, you can. Start by scanning this code, choose your package, and share the important information your future clients need in order to find you. Because when they find you, we can help everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together.
Hello world, my name is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer, and I am also a consultant at Z-World Webs. My one goal is to develop custom websites that are specifically catered to your organization's needs. I completely understand that building a website is an exhilarating, exciting, and significant step in connecting with your audience. Your organization has Z potential to make a meaningful impact, whether it's supporting animal rights, advocating for equality, combating human trafficking, or honoring the brave individuals who have served our country. Your mission is too important to be held back by the challenges a website can present. And I am here to ensure that your website works for you, not against you. Whether it's maintaining, developing, or redeveloping a custom website that is specifically catered to your needs. And with that being said, I would be more than delighted to learn more about your organization and, of course, develop a website Z-World is waiting for. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Footprints Forward. My name is Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward. You can always reach out to me by using my For My card. My For My card is right up here in the corner. Scan that For My card, and you will get any way and every way there is to contact me, whether it be email, text message, phone call, smoke signals. Well, no, not smoke signals. No. Got a little bit of disappointing news today. I know usually I'm the guy who comes out there and I speak saying that we can all get along, we can always do this. All we have to do is come together. We've got this, all these things, and we're sitting here on Monday, December 2nd, 2024, and I'm going to tell you right now, I was wrong. For today, I am very, very wrong. Tonight is one of those games between the New Jersey Devils and the New York Rangers. And we can't get along today, Rangers fans. We just can't do it. Okay. We can agree that we need to help people, and we can agree on how to do that. We can agree that we can work together, but that's tomorrow, because tonight we can't work together. So 7 o'clock Eastern time, my New Jersey Devils are going to be taking on the New York Rangers, and hopefully we'll be getting a win this time. Just because, well, I'm not going to say the Rangers chant, but I will say that for today, we can't work together, Rangers fans. At least not until about 9:30 when the game ends, and then after that, you know what? We can get together. So sorry, had to get that out. We have a lot going on. I have an interview I had a lot of fun conducting with a new friend out of the UA, the European area. His name is Joel White, and he's got a wonderful program that focuses on men, and it's a Rewired for Men program. We're going to be getting to that here real quickly because it is a little bit longer. But like I said, it was a fun interview. But I would be remiss if I did not bring this up. We are running out of time, and we need your help. Scan this QR code, and it's going to take you to a brand new form. Okay, I need to let everybody know this. It's going to take you to a brand new form. I'm trying to make this form a little bit easier to use as I just click on my other screen, and all of a sudden my face lights up like anybody needs to see my face any brighter, I guess. But this form is going to look a little or a lot like this form. Yep, here we go. It's going to look a little, again, or a lot like this form. And we've got a couple things that we need you to do. Okay, if you would like to support us by using the Shop, Click, and Pick program, please do. Just shop with any of our partners, use the upload area to just upload your receipt. And if you want to know how the Shop, Click, and Pick program works, right there's the video. Please make sure you give us your name, your phone number, and your email address so we can contact you. And then take your camera on your phone, create a video. Please create a video. Or add your logos. Or if you want to sponsor us, you can add your logo. You can add your video, whatever you want right here. If you have any suggestions for the program, please give us a suggestion. And then just answer the following questions. What best fits your participation goals, all the way down the line. And then here's where you can choose to pick up a sponsorship package. Okay. You can also just donate $5 to us, and every $5 donation, the entire $5 donation will go to buying a book for Northern Colorado hospitals. If you would like to get involved, go and purchase a book. Take a picture of the book, send it to us, and we will share where that book goes. Or you can take, and for $20, you can support Maggie Van Galen reading her books, which is a huge part of what we're doing. Your company could win a 1-hour sponsorship simply by buying a $20 ticket. Hey everyone, it's Zach, introducing a special edition to Miracle of a Community That Cares event, where award-winning children's author and community Pay It Forward giving partner Maggie Van Galen is generously donating 3 of her beloved books and 1-hour virtual authors meeting valued at over $175. You know us, we're going to do things a little bit different. Maggie will personally read these heartwarming stories during the event. You could be the solo sponsor of this read. Tickets are just $20, and the winning ticket holder will be announced December 21st at noon East. Don't miss a chance to make a meaningful impact this holiday season, and get your tickets now by scanning the QR code or visiting us at communitypayitforward.us. When the form opens up, this is what it'll look like. Scroll down to the Make a Donation, Purchase a Ticket, or Become a Sponsor section. Get involved how it best suits you. Tickets can be bought by selecting the last option of this section. Thank you for supporting a miracle of a community that cares. And once again, the form has changed, but you can see the Maggie Van Galen area. Just come down here, purchase 1, purchase 5, purchase however many tickets you want. And when you do that, you will be in the running, plus you will be helping us put books into Northern Colorado hospitals. So, but we need your help, folks. We are less than a month away, and we are running very short. So please get busy, get your friends, get together, like this video, comment, share this video. Make sure that you like our page. Make sure that you give us a little bit of love so we can continue to show people what it means to work together, unless you're a Rangers fan, and then we can't work together until after the game tonight. Yes, we can. We can. All right. We can. Just know that your hockey team is not good. But anyway, we can work together as long as you understand that your team is awful. Terrible. I met Joel at the speakers meeting. Once again, I've spoken about the speakers meeting, and I would suggest to anybody who has anything to do with public speaking or podcasting or broadcasting, any of that, to go and check out Event Raptor and the speakers meeting. Now, I say this, and I need everybody to understand this. Events Raptor has nothing to do with Community Pay It Forward. They're not partners, they're not sponsors, they're not anything. It's just a meeting that I truly, truly feel is beneficial for everybody. Generally, there are anywhere from, I would say, 50 to 250 people, 300 people at their meetings that are talking about speaking opportunities. And there are so many people who speak on different things. So if you would like more information about the Event Raptor speakers meeting, please just reach out to us and I will get you there. But I met Joel there and I told him what we were doing. And Joel decided that he would like to check out what we were doing. And he reached out to us and he set up a meeting. And we held the meeting the other day. I had a great interview with him. I really enjoyed talking to him. I really enjoyed learning from him. So I am proud to introduce to you my friend, founder of Rewired for Men, Mr. Joel White. Hey everybody, it's Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. I want to welcome Joel White to Community Impact. Hey Joel, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Zach, for this opportunity. It's been really nice. Looking forward to it, mate.
Not a problem. I love what you're doing because you're focusing on something that unfortunately, and I don't want to shame anybody when I say this, but I do think and I believe that you feel the same way. I do. Hey everybody, it's Zach Clayton with Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. I want to welcome Joel White to Community Impact. Hey Joel, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Zach, for this opportunity. It's been really nice. Looking forward to it, mate.
Not a problem. I love what you're doing because you're focusing on something that unfortunately, and I don't want to shame anybody when I say this, but I do think and I believe that you feel the same way. I do think it's something that we kind of forget, that men every once in a while need that support as well. We do focus a lot on other areas that need support, and every once in a while we do forget that, you know what? There's a lot of stuff being thrown at men and we kind of forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Zach. It's not just about sort of forgetting about it. We get carried away with the stories that we're told from a young age, that men are tough and men are strong and men don't cry and men can manage their emotions and men don't need anybody to speak to and,
Hmm.
they can move on and, get your act together, man up. And, these are various stories I'm sure is shared across all cultures, whatever country you're in. But the irony of it is, Zach, is a lot of that is not true. It's not the case. But when it's pushed on you in the way it is, you don't even question it. And that obviously where a lot of problems come, as we'll talk later, as men get older, when they realise or they don't realise, that they don't even know who they are anymore because of the things that they're told. It's not the case.
I think that one of the things that we have learned throughout time is that men who hold things in, they don't have healthy lifestyles. They don't have my grandfather, for example, when he was, World War II veteran, and he held everything in. He didn't talk about the war. He didn't talk about any of that, and it led to a long life of drinking and not, he didn't really care about his own, where he lived in these real crappy little apartments. I mean, I still remember walking into this one room little apartment, and that was good enough for him, and I don't know if that was a way of he punishing himself for the things that he felt or what it was, but I know it led to, in the end, that all led to part of his demise, and it was something that, suck it up, buttercup, or rub a little dirt in it and get up off the ground and do what you do. These are all something that, those are really bad ways of dealing with things, right?
Massively, Zach. And you've said such a lot in a short period of time there, and I'll try and unpack bits of that. To be honest, one of the things what men seem or do not even seem do struggle a lot with is something called shame. And shame is it's not even a feeling, it's a really strong emotional response. And if you were to look at a dictionary definition of what shame is, it's basically the judgment of all of yourself, the whole bit of yourself, every last bit, everything you do, what you say, how you act, how you move. It's the
Mm-hmm.
entirety of who you are. And a lot of men drop into that aspect of shame, and it's different from guilt. Guilt is if you've done something wrong that has been judged to be wrong, and you want to make amends. Whereas shame's different. Shame is literally the entirety of you is bad or awful or whatever it is. And what's really interesting, and you touched upon it there with what you're talking about. Was it your dad or your granddad you were talking about
It was
there?
my grandfather. Yeah, my
About
granddad.
your
Yeah.
grandfather, that classic example. Men find themselves perhaps doing things they aren't proud of. We put it in that way, and then they feel they've got to punish themselves for it, and that's what shame is. But what's really interesting, Zach, is when you peel back, and we've touched on it a bit here, when you peel back through that emotion of shame, of that judgment, because it is a judgment, is what's behind that. And what I mean, what's behind that, Zach, is that, we were talking a bit about before, as men, we carry these stories. We carry these stories in our head. And when we come into this world, like your granddad and yourself and me and anybody else who's a male, we come into this world as a blank slate, almost like a clean slate. We are completely in the present moment. We are witnessing the world around us. Not the word witness. That's more than seeing. We witness. We're part of it through our senses. And it's only when somebody goes good baby or bad baby or good boy or whatever that we pick that story up. And we think we've got to move in a certain way then to get good baby or good boy and away from bad baby. And all these stories start to line up, and then they build into obviously what we're talking about here. And at some point, your granddad would have had a story. You need to go and fight for your country because that's what men do. Whether you wanted to do that or not, that story has been really imprinted in there. That he's gone off and done that, and hence that goes into it. But the interesting thing, what happens, and again, we'll touch more into this, as we pick up these stories as men and we play them in our head, whether we realize it or not, our physical body reacts to them, Zach. Our physical body reacts because it's basically reacting like, please stop putting that unhealthy thing into your body because it's having an impact. If we've gone off, you must have had that, Zach. You've had that late night kebab, or you felt a bit hungry and you've gone to fast food place around the corner and the pictures look great and you buy it and you eat it all. And then later you're like, ugh.
Yep.
And
Yep.
what does he want to do? He wants to get rid of it, and it gets rid of it very effectively. We won't go into detail how, but we can read between the lines. But when that story's in your head, it's not as easy to get rid of. So your body just constantly reacts to it. It might react by increase in heart rate. Your breath might get shallower, or it might get heavier. You might start to sweat because the physical reactions, your body's helping you. It's saying you need to do something different. And if you don't do something different, those signals get stronger, and obviously your body starts to help you out in a different way, like shut you down or make you go to bed or whatever. But what happens, Zach, is we speak to our friends and they go, what's wrong with you? Man up. You'll be all right. Move on. Do you know what I mean? Big and strong. Or you go to your doctor or what health service, whatever that looks like, and they go, that's depression, or that's trauma, or that's anxiety, and you need these pills, and off you go. But what you never get down to, Zach, is what's the underlying cause, which is this story. It's a story where all these things start. But unfortunately, we get so wrapped up in all this stuff. Very rarely do we actually bring it back to ourselves, to be honest. Very rarely.
Shame is something that every single one of us have, and it's part of life. Shame is something that we live with every day because it's something that we've experienced. Can shame be good for us?
And it's interesting that shame isn't necessarily what we experience every day. It's a story we create around it in regards to what we're told. Because when we come into the world, that we don't come in as shame or guilt or even a man. We just come into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something we actually pick up through where we interact with our world, and we try to make sense of an experience that is usually based on someone telling us when we're younger what it is or isn't and how we should do a certain thing. And then we take that as gospel in a way that's how it should be done. And the problem with that is, Zach, is then we then get into the bit what you talked about there, what's good and what's bad. And that creates a minefield about like what's a good man and what's a bad man. And then it gets even more entwined with that. And if anything, it's not even a case of shame being good or bad. It's the whole thing that it doesn't have to be that way. That it doesn't even belong to us from that degree. If anything, that is a collection of, shame. Breaking it down is going back to that story which is a lot for a lot of men who are listening now or will listen to this later. The age-old "I'm not good enough." That's a classic man story. I'm not good enough. Why can't I? X is better than me. All these are classic stories that men carry. Classic.
What do we need to do? What is one of the first things we need to do to take and control this shame and make sure this shame becomes a learning moment or learning opportunity rather than a punishing opportunity? Because I think that's where you really learn. You can use it as a learning
Yes.
thing. Hey, you know what? This is what you did. It wasn't the best of things to do. You could have done better than this.
Yeah.
So take and do this rather than this is what I did. Oh my God, this is who I am.
Absolutely. Literally what you said there points exactly towards that is, towards moving through that. And again, it's how you look at things in regards to that. Okay, it's a whole judgment of self, but the irony of it is what is the evidence for that, and where is that evidence from? And a lot of that evidence is either from people who don't know you, or it's self-certified because that it must be true because I'm saying it to myself. And when you start to, and what we call that is it's taking the evidence to court. It's literally visualizing being in a courtroom. What is the evidence for these thoughts that you have about yourself? And what you'll find very quickly is there is no evidence or very little evidence. And that can be really useful to take that step back, Zach, and just look at things in a slightly different way. But also what you said there as well, Zach, is also really important that I've just lost my train of thought. Just give me a minute. Where was it going?
No, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah, no, it just went. That's what I was going to say. The other thing as well, which comes into it, which I say to a lot of people I work with, everybody has a story to tell, their own personal story, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. What matters is what do you do about it now? Because what you do about it now determines what comes next. And it's absolutely paramount to see it that way. Absolutely paramount. And also what this fits into is another piece, and I'm doing lots of little bits here, but they're all useful if people are listening to this in slightly different ways of dealing what we're talking about here is shame. And the other bit which comes into shame, which again, people have a very different understanding of it. We're back to stories and the impact it has, which is forgiveness, Zach. Forgiveness is a massive thing. And forgiveness is more so for yourself than for anybody else. It's not saying, it doesn't matter that you hurt A, B, and C. It's about, okay, well, that's happened. This is where we are now. What are we going to do different going forwards? And how can we do that? Because to some degree, shame in what behaviour, you talked about your grandfather there, how a lot of men deal with shame, they go down that route of punishment / self-harm. So drinking too much alcohol, taking drugs, going out and having illicit sex, whatever it might be, a lot of it is risk-taking behaviour, because it's all down to I deserve it for what I have done. And that is far opposite than what forgiveness is for self, and the importance of, I guess, taking that responsibility and doing something different going forwards. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's enough. There's that age old saying, put the whip down. You've whipped yourself enough. Put it
Yeah.
down. Now's the time to do something different if you want to do that. And I think that's the crux bit in it, that personal responsibility piece.
Yeah. Which is harder for somebody to overcome, self shame or shame that's brought upon you by someone else?
That's a really interesting one. Again, they are both difficult. I guess if the shame has been, well, they both. If the shame is brought on by somebody else, that helps in a way to see it from a different angle, because it's somebody else than yourself. Because when it's yourself doing it to yourself, then obviously that's going to be harder. But they both share that same thing of being able to take a step back from the evidence to look at that. We're back to that piece of forgiveness as well, of compassion for yourself. Where it's somebody else putting it on you or yourself, it's bringing it back to that. But like I said, it goes back to identifying those stories. What stories do you keep telling yourself in your head that's leading to that behavior, that emotional trigger of shame? Is it, like I said before, I'm not good enough, I'm not a real man, whatever it might be? And it could literally be writing those questions out or statements that you say to yourself and researching it. What does it mean to be a real man? What does it mean to be good enough? What does it mean to be, which is a classic in the UK at the moment, breadwinner? What does it mean to be a breadwinner in the family? What does that actually mean? And is that actually who I am? Because all this shame, a lot of what underpins shame is people, men particularly, they don't know who they are. They've never been shown. So one of the issues in the UK for a lot of men is they don't necessarily have a role model per se. They don't know what it looks like. And the problem is when you are looking outside of yourself for the answers, and then you're scorned for doing that for experience, and then it's a shame is then put on you by somebody else, or you take that in on yourself. It makes it very difficult. But the irony in all this, Zach, is when you start to look at the evidence for why we have these stories playing in our head that leads to shame and what other people are saying to you. Now, a lot of it doesn't even belong to us, because it goes back to what we were saying before, Zach. We weren't born with it. So why are we taking it on and shaping our lives around things that are not true? And I don't know about you, Zach, from my personal experience, if I am willing in that moment to take the time to take a step back and be, if you want to call it, state of awareness, presence, your mojo, what you find is you find the answer, which is inside ourselves. Yeah? Have you had that, Zach, where an issue, you've weighed up a situation, you kind of get that gut instinct? Have you had that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you think about those times when you've listened to that, how more favourable the outcomes were for you and everybody else.
Yep.
Those times, Zach, where you don't listen to your gut instinct, and look what happens differently.
And I think that kind of leads up to what my next question was. Is it easier to overcome shame if you know who you are, if you know who you want to be, if you know what your end goal is, rather than listen to somebody else's version of what you should be?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more with that. And what I call that, Zach, and again, I bring this into conversations that I do and different sort of workshops and things like that. I call it your IDP. And what I mean by IDP is your identity, your purpose, your direction. That they are absolutely crucial for a man. And in regards to identity, it's finding it by putting all those stories aside that we get told we are. That we should be a good husband and a good father and the breadwinner and a good brother. And if you're not all that, then you're bad. So they're all those are stories in themselves. When we start to question the evidence, we step out that we not actually are those things. And what we are is unique for each individual, which is found within themselves. And when you start to move all that stuff away, it then becomes clearer what that is. And I guess looking at another way, Zach, when we're born in this country, in the UK, you get a birth certificate. The birth certificate says on it, this is your name, your date of birth, time of birth, who mum and dad is, beautiful, and that's what you get. Yeah? And at the end of your life, when you die, you get a death certificate. And what does it say on that? It's the time of death, place of death, cause of death, whatever else. What it doesn't say on those pieces of paper is, well, you could have been a better dad, or, you could have worked a bit harder in your job role, or you were a business owner for 30 years. It doesn't say any of that because it's meaningless. It's not important. It's not who you are. And I think when you get straight with that makes it easy into what is your direction. So what is your purpose? And purpose means a lot for different people, Zach. For me personally, what purpose is, through being clear about my identity and questioning all the evidence and working through what I've worked through, my purpose aligns in life that I want to really make a positive difference in empowering other people towards greater lives so they can do the same for others. That's why I work with men over 30, and we'll talk about that a bit later. And because I'm clearer now with my purpose, I'm clear with my direction. And hence, the direction I do is working men's mental health with men over 30. So once you get a clear idea about your identity, it comes a bit clear with your purpose, it comes a bit clear with your direction. Direction will change, Zach, because that's connected to your job role and whatever it is. But usually your identity doesn't, and that feeds into your purpose and then so on from there. What a lot of people do, they start at direction because they're told by their partner or mum or dad or school or whatever it is, you've got to be this and you've got to be that. And it isn't the case. So you get a lot of men in careers doing jobs they got told to do, didn't really think about it themselves, and they're unhappy and they're miserable. And they find themselves engaging in certain behaviours, addictions that aren't particularly great. And again, I can only reference off the UK. There's a massive surge in the UK, particularly on men into sectors such as IT and communication, finance and investment. Why? Because that's what men should be doing, and that's where the money is, and that's where they'll be successful. The rates of burnout are astronomical, Zach. Sickness is through the roof. Stress is horrendous. And then we've got other industries here in the UK that are deemed to be manly industries, like construction and mechanics. They have some of the highest rates of self-harm and suicide that you could imagine. Think about a mechanic and a builder. They've got all the tools they could ever dream for. If they choose, unfortunately, to take that permanent solution. It doesn't have to be this way, Zach. It really doesn't. And that's the issue when people get stuck on direction and don't know really about their purpose and their identity.
It's actually kind of funny. I know some mechanics that are the happiest people I've ever met in my life because their dream is to work on cars. And I think, or in my case, on motorcycles, working with motorcycles, that's one of the things that's what their dream is. And I think the best thing you can do for yourself, okay, for your purpose, for who is in this vessel and in this vessel. I think the best thing you can do is, while you're doing it, if you're miserable, you're not treating this vessel properly. You're not feeding this vessel like it should be fed. If you go to work every day and I hate this effing job.
Yes.
And Joel, I know this because before my motorcycle accident, I said that 5-6 times a day. I would get out of my truck and I'd kick something and I hate this effing job. I'd say it 5, 6, 7 times a day. I didn't care. I hated it. I wasn't happy with where I was at. I wasn't happy with the life I was in. I allowed my quote unquote responsibility
Yes.
to guide my actions instead of letting myself take control of who I am. And now I'm a much happier person.
Absolutely, Zach. And again, that goes back to something I said before. Responsibility is everything. It really is. And life's really, really interesting. That situations will arise, and we face choices every single day, no matter how big or small they are. And at the end of the day, you can either choose to do the best. I hate using terms like you can either choose to make a decision that is best for you and the other party, whatever that looks like. No, best for you first, and I'll break that down afterwards. Or you don't. And what a lot of men do as well, they don't make a decision. What you've got to understand is that not making a decision is still a choice.
Yep.
And what
Yep.
life will do is your agency, your control window in that situation will narrow more and more. And as that does that, the window of life to make it for you grows greater and greater and greater. And unfortunately, the more that happens, the less favourable the outcome will be for you, because you've given it over to life to do it. And the only way I can put it, Zach, and you'll probably be able to relate to this, and then I'll pick up another point. Imagine your beautiful motorbike, yeah? You've got a beautiful motorbike, you've poured hours and hours into this bike, building it, cleaning it, whatever. Imagine going out on a Friday night in your local town, yeah? And you park out the most busiest, worst pub you can imagine, right? And you literally just get off your bike and go, hey, anybody want to ride my bike? I'll sit on the back of it. And you just hand those keys over to anybody else. Yeah? Would you do it? Of course you wouldn't. Of
No.
course
Hell no.
no.
Oh, no, no, no.
But
No.
unfortunately, Zach, men do that quite a lot. That's
Yep.
what they do when they've got a situation they don't particularly want to deal with. They don't make that they don't make that decision. And the other thing what you hit on as well, Zach, is absolutely clear. Depending where you want to come from, this is a vessel, and it's the only vessel we have. And if we don't look after it, then we've got a problem, and the eject button comes, and we can imagine what that looks like. And no longer are we in this vessel. And I say that goes back to what we were saying at the beginning. When we play these stories in our head, our vessel, the body is responding, going, please stop doing it. But it goes to the next level, what you're talking about, is that if you are 7 times a day, as you said, saying how much you hate that job, imagine that feeling that you're putting out around you. Do you think people want to be around you, Zach? When they see you swearing, kicking, punching?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I knew that people didn't want to be around me until I jumped on the bike. And when I jumped on the bike, I became happy with my life, with that part of my life. And I could take on anything in the world, I mean, but it was a terrible, terrible dis I was doing terrible damage to myself because I was living a life that I didn't need to be
Yes.
living. And you're right. I love the analogy of, I was saying, hey, here's my life. I was handing the keys to my life over to my boss, saying, you know what? Go on ahead, ruin it. I don't need it no more. It is what it is. So, um, Joel, let's talk a little bit about your backstory. Let's tell people why you started this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the journey to where I am now, because it is a journey. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Has had many obstacles on the way, good, bad, or ugly. But you know what, Zach? I'm not going to go into all of it, but I wouldn't change any of them,
Yeah.
because what I have been through has made me who I am today, and it's my choice what I choose to do now with it going forward. And I think that's really important, and to echo that and emphasize that. And it's not saying what people have done to me doesn't matter, but I'm not just doing executioner, Zach. I'm not going to waste my life trying to punish other people when I want to move on and become a better individual, whatever phrase you want to call it. But slightly off piece. Anyway, for me, Zach, it's that usual what I was talking about before. Early 20s, came out of university, didn't really know what I wanted to do, didn't really have a role model as a father in my life. I ain't really got a clue. And it was only like, oh, you know what? Saw an advert somewhere. Let's be a counsellor. I guess that's where it started. And they need counsellors in school to help children. So why don't you go in the school and work? We called them, or at the time they were called disaffected young people, in regards to that problem children. No, children are not the problem. It's the school environment that's the problem, Zach, more than anything else. But anyway, when I started in the school, I was good at what I did. I really enjoyed writing to these young people. I got an offer I couldn't refuse to become a teacher. Everyone wanted to be a teacher, Zach. Mum was a teacher, Dad was a teacher. Not what I wanted to do, but we're back to stories. Well, why don't you give it a go? You might enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. So I became a qualified teacher, really good at what we're doing. But I started to question why. Why am I doing this? Why am I not dealing with these problems at the age that I am? What had been coming up in my life when I was younger? Why am I just ploughing forwards? And I guess my answer to that was, I know what I'll do, Zach. I'll get a job and I'll work abroad because life's going to be better.
Yeah.
Life's going to be better when I'm in the sun. I can pack my bags and we're all good. But unfortunately, as you can see where this is going, Zach, when you pack your bags to go abroad, you don't leave your problems behind. They go with you in the suitcase. And for me, I went to Thailand, I went to Bangkok. People can imagine what that can be like for a man who's single and trying not to deal with issues and so on and so forth. And from there, I went to China. But by the time I got to China, Zach, I was in Shenzhen, just over the border of Hong Kong. All those problems that those stories in the head that were playing, my body was reacting more and more. And I weren't paying attention to that because I was enjoying myself partying. And then it was, I'll take on more responsibility. So I was an A-level IT teacher. Then I became network manager. So I was managing all the technology budget for the college. And then I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll become a head of house because I'm good at that, pastoral care. So I started doing that. And it was like, I know what I can do. I've got a bit of free time. I'll do a master's degree. So then I started to do a master's degree. So you can see how all these physical reactions are building up. The writing's on the wall. I kept going. And for me, the only way I can put it is the wheels fell off when I got a new job in South Korea, mid 2013. And it was literally about hitting the F button. And do men hit it hard. We don't mess about when we made that decision as men. And that goes back to that emotions being all over the show. And when I hit that literally brought me into nervous breakdown, mental reset, whatever you want to call it. But I did it in style in another country and not my own country, where English wasn't really a spoken language per se in South Korea. So it was a miracle to get back to the UK. And a big shout out for my mum on that. My mum, 60 years old at the time, came over and brought me back. Because if she didn't, I'd be coming home in a body bag, Zach, because that's the level it had got to. So when I was back in the UK, looked around for that support in our health system in the UK. And unfortunately, long waiting lists, major problem. When I did get on the list, as it were, mediocre support, overstretched service, couldn't afford private health. And you know what it came down to? Some men hit this, Zach, some don't. For me, I did, which is a sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I thought the only one who can sort this out is me. And that's where it started for me. I signed up to something called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, works at a subconscious level, starts with the stories. And literally within 6 months, Zach, I'd moved back into that place of stability. And it was right. Don't want to work with young people anymore. Love young people. Don't love the education system. Don't want to be part of it in the UK. And then that led me to the health and well-being of working with adults. And I was working, and over that period, so if you fast forward for 10 years, I'd worked a lot of roles in the health and well-being sector, third sector, foundations, charities, whatever you would call it, a NHS contract. But on the side, Zach, I had this calling to find a better way to help people one-to-one and deal with some of the issues that I was facing and I knew other people were facing, access and support. And I found along that journey, a lot of people that I worked with were men. So in that journey of building that toolkit, Zach, I became a qualified counsellor. I became a qualified EMDR practitioner, motivational interviewing, life coach, lots of things. And all these are ways that we're looking for a better way of supporting somebody one-to-one with their mental health. But what I found, Zach, on this journey, which a lot of men can potentially relate to, is when you are in a setting where you've got stories playing in your head around men have got to be tough and strong and this, that, and the other, it can be difficult to talk about your issues, about your problems, without being triggered by them. And what happens to a lot of men is we become either aggressive or agitated, so we get labelled as angry man, even though we're not agitated. We shut down. Oh, men don't talk. No, we do talk. It's a bit overwhelming at that point. Or we leave. Oh, men don't complete services. Oh, well, DNA then, isn't it? But it's not. That they are reactions based on what we're talking about. The other thing what happens as well, Zach, is what I discovered as well, that between sessions, that's when a lot of men can reflect on stuff. And that can be overwhelming from that degree. And then it's like what I had. How long's a piece of string? How many sessions do I need? How much money have I got to throw at this? But also what unfortunately has happened to men who have accessed support in the past, that when they have spoken to somebody like their therapist or whatever, their therapist has had a chat with somebody else. And then before you know it, their details have gone out into that public domain. And it's awful. It's an awful experience to be in.
Yeah, and I really think one of the things that you were saying is that, when you think that men don't talk, men don't do this. This is unfortunately one of the reasons why men fall into the drugs and the alcohol, because men feel that they feel the lack of insecurity that they can talk to somebody. They're fooled. Their brain is fooled into being able to trust anyone once they've opened up that can of beer, once they've had that shot. They've fooled themselves into being able to trust their friends who, the truth is their friends are just as drunk as they are, and they can share anything. But then the next morning you wake up and that's when you feel that shame. Oh shit, did I actually say that to that guy? Did I act? And then you've got to worry about what's going on next. And this leads to another cycle of trouble that you're in. And look, guys, this is something coming from me, okay? It's never too late in life to find that pathway. Okay. I was 43 when the accident happened. 43. So think about it this way: 43 years ago, I was waking up every day saying, I hate my effing life. I hate my effing job. I hate the path I'm on. I hate everything about what I'm doing. Thank God for my boys and my motorcycle, because if it wasn't for them, life would have just been a hell for me. So it's never too late to make this mistake. The mistakes you've got, the one thing that you've got to do to make sure you're not making this mistake is don't fool yourself. Get the help that you need. There are ways out there that you can find that comfort level, and it does not look like a beer bottle. It doesn't look like a pipe, and it doesn't come in a vial.
And absolutely, Zach, I couldn't agree more. In regards to that journey I've been on, it took 35 years, 40 years, to realize the things that I did. And, if anything, just picking up on that, it's not mistakes, the learning experiences, if you're willing to do the learning. And what you said there is very clear with that. Men feel or told that they don't talk about their feelings when they talk to man up. But the irony of it is, for me, I run men's groups here in the UK, in the area where I live. And rain or shine, I have men turn up. And some of the men's groups one particular men's group I can think of, we've got veterans in there. We've had people who served in the SAS for 22 years. We've got people who have done undesirable things. Let's put it that way.
Mhm.
But yeah, in that room that they're in, there is no alcohol, there is no drugs, there is no pipe. There is a container where they feel safe just to be themselves and just to talk. And there's no building birdhouses, and there's no there's no gardening. You don't need gardening and build birdhouses to have an activity for men just to be. And these men, be honest with you, Zach, they wouldn't even look at each other twice if they were outside on the streets. But the fact that they've come into this space, that's what you need. You need a safe space. And what I mean by safe is where you can literally just be yourself and you can let the bravado start to drop down without beer bottles or drugs or whatever it is. That's gold. And the other thing what I want to tackle here is that, which I've said a number of times, men do talk about their feelings. And to some degree, Zach, men are actually deeper than women. So much deeper and direct about being open with their emotions and their feelings. Far more than women could ever be. That sounds a bit sexist, that, but I can only go off my own personal experience and what I've seen. It's just unfortunate what happens when you hit the nail on the head. They unfortunately choose the wrong person to do it with, and particularly after they've had a few, drinks. And when they come out and say something which is honest, honest and vulnerable, the reaction they get is not what they're looking for. So that creates a story of, I'll never be vulnerable again. Being vulnerable is a weakness. No, it's not. Being vulnerable is the greatest strength a man could be. What it's important to do is weigh up who you're doing it with in the first place. That's what's important, more so than anything else.
Yeah. Well, guys, just remember, you know what? That hot bartender only cares about you because, well, it it makes her life better when she is better to you. So, just remember that. Hey, Joel, and guys, look, we're not all. The other thing that we're not trying to tell you, all right, you know what, group therapy is perfect for some perfect, yeah, some people it's not that way, just a one-on-one. Okay, there's also therapies where you can listen to programs. Joel, you've got a couple programs that men uh, can participate in, right?
Yeah. So one of the things from all the experience I was talking about, Zach, and the toolkit that I've got, that I'm in the process of launching a new program in December, which is called Rewired for Men. And Rewired for Men is about working with men aged 30 and above to empower them to rewrite those unhelpful stories in their head, what we've been talking about. And by doing so, that they can be more clear about their identity, their direction, and most of all for men, emotional balance. Because those things make life so much easier to navigate, but more fruitful. And I've already mentioned why it's so important for men in regards to emotional balance. The beauty of what I do, Zach, and I don't call it a therapy, it's more than a therapy. And why is it more than a therapy? Because it's a bit like Fight Club, the film. You don't have to talk about your stories because you don't need to. So that's freeing straight away. I'm empowering men with this technique that they can use every day of their lives. They don't have to keep coming back to me all the time. Nice and simple to do that. And the beauty of it is, Zach, it's 4 hours. It's a 4 hour session in how it works. Set period of time, very, very clear. But going back to what I said before, Zach, I think when we were off camera, because you're not talking about your stories, it's discreet. So the information is not going to go anywhere because there is no information to go anywhere anyway from that degree. And the beauty of what I do as well, Zach, is I deliver it online. Yes, I'm based in the UK, but I deliver it online, giving men not just the opportunity in the UK, but also in the US and other countries around the world to access what I do.
Well, and I know that you charge £400, which is $501.22 here in America. I looked that up when you brought that up,
Love it.
and I'm going to tell you something, guys. A couple other programs that we've had on this show, they that are well worth it. I'm not gonna badmouth anybody. Every program is perfect for someone. That's just the way it is.
Absolutely.
Every program is perfect for someone. $500 is a really good price for a lot of these programs. So this is very affordable. So, and when is this? You're launching this December. Do you have a date yet, or?
Yeah, so I'm launching the program as I guess a webinar, if you want to put it that way, which will be Tuesday, the 10th of December, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. That's UK time. So
Right,
I'm
and
not
that's
sure what
going
it
to
is in
be
your time.
2:30 East. That's 2:30 East. So on December what?
December the 10th, Tuesday,
On
December the 10th.
all right.
What I
So
can do, Zach, is I can send you a link that you can share out among your viewers. So it's a case of you click on the link, you register. We use a platform called Zoom. I don't know if people are familiar with
yep.
it over there, and it's free. And it's a great opportunity just to learn about what I do, but more so the difference that I'm making to the lives of guys listening. That's why I do what I do.
Yeah, please do share me send me that link as soon as we're done here, and then when we go live with this when I share this video, I'll show it the link right down here, and I'll make sure it's on the information for people. Hey Joel, this has been a good time, brother. Where are you at in the UK?
In where you mean where am I based?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm based in Manchester.
Manchester. All right. So
Yeah,
all right. So yeah, what's it what are some of the big things that men struggle with over there that might be different than we have here in America? Are is it a environmental, there are environmental differences, yeah?
yeah, there is, but generally they tend to be the same, Zach. And what I find with the men that I work with, they tend to fall into there's lots of categories, but they tend to fall into very similar categories. And a lot of men struggle around three categories that are money, work, and relationships. And what I mean by money stories, I'm never going to earn enough. I'm always in debt. Why is this happening to me? Why aren't people buying from me? Work can be, which happens to a lot of men. I'm not working hard enough. I'm not making enough money for the family. Do you know what I mean? That's a classic one for men. And the relationship stories are like, why can't I be that perfect father? What's wrong with me? Why can't I be the best husband? Or it might be in some cases, Zach, unfortunately, which does happen in the UK. A lot of men find themselves in unhealthy relationships, really unhealthy relationships, where they're the ones who are being beat up or attacked or name called or all the rest of it, but they don't get out of them, Zach, because they're told, oh, it's your role that you are the husband. You're supposed to deal with that. Do you know what I mean? And
There is
this,
a
that, and the
lot
other.
of stigma for ending bad relationships.
Yeah,
There's a lot of time that and this is just personal speaking here. Ending my second relationship took me forever to do because you had that thought: do I want to be a two-time divorcee?
yeah,
Do I want to end this relationship and have two-time? Yeah, I've been married two times. Oh, great. That means I've failed two times. Guys, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. All right. That's it.
yeah,
And, 2, 5, let's not get married 5 times. I mean, come on, that's pushing it. All right.
yeah,
If you can't find the right person, maybe realize, hey, you just kind of enjoy being with women, and women or men. I'm not gonna preclude,
for
but
sure, Zach. And there's 2 points in that what you're saying. Men are also victims of domestic violence
oh
and
yeah,
domestic abuse
absolutely,
and emotional
absolutely.
abuse. Yes, yes, we are. It's not all men on women. Women do that to men. Men do experience it. It is a two-way thing. And the other thing which comes into it as well goes back to again what we said at the beginning. If you don't have that healthy relationship with yourself, with your vessel, whatever you want to call it, guess what? You're not going to find a healthy relationship with somebody else. If you can't love yourself, Zach, and like yourself, why would you expect somebody else to do it? And if you get into that relationship with a person who's also struggling to love and like themselves, it's not going to have a great outcome
Yeah.
for either parties.
Yep.
It really isn't
Yep.
at
Yep.
all.
And if you can't find the value in yourself, nobody else is going to be able to tell you what the value is,
Yeah,
because you have to prove to people what your value is, and only you truly know what
for
your
sure.
value is. That's
Ab-
just the way. You can't,
Absolutely.
other people cannot tell you what your value is.
Yes,
You have to find your value. And every single one of us, men, women, kids, boys, girls, every single one of us has value. Don't ever think that you don't have value in something, because every single one of us brings something to a table in every single situation. Don't
absolutely.
don't ever let anybody dissuade you from that.
Absolutely. And I guess there's something on the back of that as well, Zach, and you touched it. If you don't look after yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you.
That's right. Yeah. If
Um,
you
and why should they? If you're going to give everything away to somebody else, why should they stop taking from you? Because
yeah,
you keep giving it. So why should they stop?
if you lay
And if
down in the
anything, be
door,
selfish, Zach.
yeah,
Say
yeah, if
no.
you lay down in the doorway, don't get pissed when somebody steps on you.
Yeah, and keeps doing because you're not getting up.
Yep. Yep. So, Joel, I appreciate this, my friend.
Yeah,
Please send us that information.
I
And
will do, mate.
you know what? I love this conversation. This was a really good conversation. Please, anytime that you got something to share, why don't you come back and join us?
I will do, mate. I really appreciate that, and thanks very much. All right,
All right.
take care.
I appreciate it. This has been Joel White with Rewired for Men. Remember, December 10th at 2:30 East here in the States, he's going to have a free webinar. You can find that information in the information tab below. Please look him up. Great. I had a great time. Thank you, Joel.
Same. Thank you, Zach.
Whoever said ignorance is bliss never ran a business. Did you know the vast majority of businesses don't make their products accessible to people with disabilities? And did you know that the collective buying power of people with disabilities is over $2 trillion? And if you're a business owner, you need to know how to make your business accessible so you're not leaving this money on the table. I want to tell you about my family partners at Real Life Access, who can help you connect with this underserved market. Real Life Access clients experience three amazing things. First, a reputation for accessibility that brings customers to your door. Second, a freedom of worry about legal consequences from not being ADA compliant. And third, increased revenue. Real Life Access team members offer common sense accessibility solutions which won't break your budget. These are business people who understand the challenges faced by all small businesses. They are also people with disabilities who know what it takes to be accessible. Check out their courses, coaching packages, and so much more at reallifeaccess.com. You'll be glad you did. At Confronting Domestic Violence, our mission is to provide real time resources to abused families, including relocation services to help parents and children reach safety. We're committed to giving at-risk families a real chance to escape dangerous situations. You can support confronting domestic violence by our simple program Shop, Click, and Pick. Shop with any giving partner. Click a picture of your receipt and pick confronting domestic violence by scanning this QR code or visiting communitypayitforward.us and search by their name. Confronting domestic violence and community pay it forward. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. I'm going to verify this for certain, but on the website, Rewired for Men, it is listed as that event is the 12th, not the 10th, the 12th. But again, I have listed the link to register right here. It is in the description of this video. Please like and share, comment, make sure that you help us get our numbers up there. I don't care about the payment. I don't care about any of that stuff. We're not on a paywall. We're not, all of the video or all of our videos that we create are our partners. Okay. There's not very many people who come out just to make sure that our videos are seen. We need you to make sure that our videos get seen. So we're going to ask you to help us do that. Okay. At Footprints Forward, our mission is very simple. It's providing resources and sharing stories to support mental health and suicide prevention in a forward direction. Coming up later on this week, we do have a huge guest announcement. Someone who has helped us out, Wendy Lyon. I am looking forward to sharing that with you on Wednesday night. And then we are going to talk more about a community, or I'm sorry, a miracle of a community that cares. We really need your support, okay? If you want to be on the show, Footprints Forward, please scan the QR code, pick a time to join us. We will be getting back into more videos like this, offering support in a forward direction every Monday morning. We need guests. We need to get some shows in the can so we can get going on this. We are also going to be starting here very soon to take guests for the 22 hours or podcast for our heroes and support of our heroes who spend every day serving us in the community and what we as civilians can do to support they who have given up of themselves. Thank you to Things Network for allowing us to simulcast. Brother, want to say it again, Brother Nick, I hope you're doing well. Haven't quite been able to reach out to you. I know that things have been a little complicated for you. I really do. I wish you the best. I wish all of you the best, unless you're a Rangers fan. I'm joking. I wish the Rangers fans the best too. I just hope that they have a miserable night tonight. So, please make sure you love somebody out here, because somebody out here loves you, unless you're a Rangers fan. Nobody needs to go it alone. When we all come together, just remember, if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. Look, folks, nobody can do this alone. Nobody can do it alone. And if we work together, we can help everyone. Please join us again next week as we remind you that, you know what, everything and anything is possible when we come together. And I do appreciate Mr. Bill Clinton piping in today with his comment. Who would have known that my first comments are going to be from one of our former presidents of the United States? That is just simply awesome. I'm touched. I'm not going to go where I was going to go with that. But thank you very much for joining us. Please join us again next week for Footprints Forward. Have a great week. This holiday season, as the world celebrates in so many ways, some families are facing it apart, feeling the weight of loneliness. At a miracle of a community that cares, we are creating a space where everyone, regardless of faith or background, can share in the joy of this wonderful season. Join Santa and leaders from all walks of life for stories, special shout-outs, and heartfelt messages from loved ones near and far. Children are taking the lead with art and fun, helping us bring the gift of books to children everywhere. Children in hospitals, children to families of all faiths, and to fortify traditions of families. This season, let's come together as a global community, one that cares, one that gives, and one that embraces all cultures, part of the miracle. Join us from December 24th to December 26th, and let's make this season unforgettable for everyone.